welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. This is A Life Well Spent. My name is Kelly, and on this channel, I'm documenting my financial journey. I do a lot of things budget related. I will do a zero-based budget. I show you my budget in real numbers at the start of the month, and then I do kind of weekly transaction updates. I'm doing some Transfer Tuesday stuff with my savings, and I'm actually getting ready to get into some investing videos, but this video is actually a closeout video where I am going to close out my budget for July. Okay, let's get started with my budget. It is August 1st, so it's a good time to kind of close out my July budget. So we will start at the top here. My actual income, I budgeted 3,600, but if you've watched any of the videos so far for July, you'll know my contract is up June 30th, and then the next year's contract starts July 1st. So if there's been any like raises or anything like that, all of those changes will take place in the first pay in July. And I knew to expect a raise, but I am honestly really terrible at figuring out how much take home that's going to mean for me, because everything's going to increase, right? Like my taxes will increase, my retirement, because it's based on a percentage and things like that. So I just kind of wait till I get the first pay and adjust from there. But I figured um, at least the 3,600, which is what I had been doing, would be enough to like get me there. And I figured, what's the harm in having extra money? So I take home an extra $181.50 in a month. So that's nice. 125, my mother gave me an additional $20 because the money she gives me pays for our shared subscriptions. She's on my cell phone plan. That's what the extra $20 was, that we were doing a lot out and about with my niece, and so utilizing the data on our phone a lot. We do what is it? Oh, Xfinity Mobile. We do a shared data plan, and it's like 3 gigs of data for like $30, or 1 gig of data for $20. And we start with the 1 gig. And because sometimes that's honestly all we use. It just really depends on how active we are at the time. So, but even like 3 gigs for $30 is pretty fine. We're okay with that. We rarely ever go over. My cell phone bill was a little bit more expensive because it includes a trip to Montreal, which had like some daily additional um, what was it, their whatever their international calling and data plan was. It was like $5 a day or $10 a day or something that I included, because that's a lot cheaper than trying to manage. Anyway, miscellaneous extra income, 159.54. I actually cashed in um some like gift cards and things of that nature. So I had a gift card with I went to see a movie, and I had gotten cashback rewards from my Discover card, and I made I think I got myself like 2 different times $50 gift cards for AMC, and so they're loaded on there. So if I see a movie, I just kind of use that. And then um, I did a survey at work, and they gave me $20. So I spent that. I think I spent that. It was really weird. Like sometimes, if you pay with a gift card, they'll just take the value of the gift card, and if there's still money left on the bill, you can still get the bill. But this really didn't like to do that. So I had to buy something for like that amount or less. And I found something that was like 1907, and it seems to have taken it, but the stuff got like picked up. It was from Amazon. It was like picked up, and I'm a little worried that they're going to end up like refunding me and making me buy it again. And the card itself expired in July, so I would be totally screwed. But oh well. I have trouble sometimes. Does anyone else have this problem? Like, leave a comment, let me know. I have a hard time spending gift cards sometimes. Like, if it's for specific things, like my AMC gift card, like, okay, no, I'm going to spend it on a movie. But other stuff that, like, I can just kind of spend it on everything. Like, part of me is like, oh, I want to splurge on something stupid that I don't want to have to spend my money on. And then I go to buy the thing and I'm like, yeah, but do I really need this? And that was my issue with this one. Like, I just couldn't decide what I wanted to spend it on. It was a digital payment, so it had to be something I was buying that was digital. And then I finally thought of something I could buy with it, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. I don't know. Anyway, total income this month $4,066.04. Now, my mortgage. So this is how I categorized it. I'm not really sure if this was the best way to do it or not, but I used to actually have a little fund for this, and then it just started making less and less sense to have the fund, so I don't have it anymore. But my mortgage, every year, so if you escrow your like your insurance and taxes and all that kind of stuff, basically your mortgage payment is like your principal, your interest, and then everything that has to go into that escrow account, and then the bank pays it out for you. um I actually don't know if I can change that. I might want to, because essentially what you're doing is you're giving the bank the money to make the interest off of instead of you earning the interest. But then the bank can be responsible for paying the bills too. So I think I can do it personally, but oh well. Anyway, that's just the way that my mortgage was set up. I'm not really sure they would have let me set it up in any other way, but regardless, um, when that account dips so low, like basically they kind of estimate and project how much you'll need to put in to the account every month so that they can pay the taxes and insurance. And of course, all of those things continue to go up. So there tends to be a shortage, and then you have to pay the shortage, or they'll tack it onto your payment. And so then your payment will go up a little bit more. But I decided I've always just kind of paid it off. Sometimes there's actually more in it, and that you're due a refund, which is irritating because I'm like, why don't you just put that on my bill? But okay, they can't leave it in there, and it's a law. It's something to do with federal law. They're not allowed to leave the money in over like $50 or something like that. Um, and so they have to refund it to you, which is stupid. But anyway, and realistically, it really just comes down to like when they pay out the bills for your stuff. So if they run the escrow audit, I don't know if audit's the right word, but they'll run the numbers and be like, oh, you're short. And yeah, you're short based on what you have in there at the time because they just paid a massive bill out, or they haven't paid the massive bill yet and they run the numbers and they're like, wow, you have extra. So then yeah, it's a little weird. But I had one, like, I had a refund of like 200 some dollars, and then my payment was going to be going up to make up for the changes in, interest and all of that kind of stuff. And I was like, then how do I have extra, and like what is happening? And no, they weren't allowed to just keep it in there, but whatever. Anyway, so that is a combination of my mortgage payment and a payment to escrow, which was $83.36. My electric bill $39.89, my gas bill $26.46. These I don't actually have to estimate. I had those bills come in at a really good time. And it technically would be like July's bill, but the payment date on it is still in August, and so I incorporate it in August budget because that's when I pay for it. My neighbor's down there burning. I'm pretty sure we can only burn on Tuesdays at 7 a.m. starting. And I don't know why. It's Thursday, August 1st. So I'm wondering if that changed. Or maybe it's Tuesday and Thursday now. I don't know. That's really weird sound. Anyway, I'm also outside. Hopefully the sun is starting to rise and it's not getting too terrible. Sewer, $63. That's a flat rate. Water, $23.38. So $6.62 under. I find that surprising because I feel like I was using a ton of water. It's very promising for next month, I think. Garbage. There's no garbage this month. It's my alarm. It says I have to get ready for work. Internet $58, cell phone $88.87. So I kind of budgeted for about 100 because I wasn't really sure. The cycle ends on like the 5th, and then I get the bill. So I have to estimate that particular one. Yeah, that was going to be a lot worse than it was, to be honest. But that includes those like extra like $10 a day for being overseas. Overseas, basically just across the border. Groceries, $89.02. I'm not even entirely sure why I budgeted $300 for groceries, knowing that I was going to spend the first 2 weeks at my mother's house. And so, yeah, that 89 was basically has lasted me 2 weeks between that and like any leftovers that I took from my mom's house. All right, gas 160.01. That one is actually surprising that I spent so much because we were mostly driving around in my mother's car. Although I guess I did take my niece around a little bit. And now that I think about it, for a week there, I was working and I was living at my mom's house, so I was driving back and forth. Okay. House garden, $42.38. So a little over budget there. Restaurant, $99.58. A lot over budget there. Fitness, $41.85. I forgot when I was making my budget for July that the price went up for the gym. So that's the difference there. I've adjusted moving forward. Personal, $104.85. Miscellaneous, $289.44. Now I will say some of these things I've included as miscellaneous, but I've paid for them with like gift cards and things like that. So it's not as bad as it looks, I should say. Brokerage account for my niece, brokerage account for me. So that's $100, and then $70.83. $500 went into my Roth IRA. So really, I was only $52.02 over budget, which I'll take. Not great, but I'll take. All right. As far as money to savings funds, so I was actually able to put, not really. If you actually add up these numbers, you'll be like, that math don't math. So I put $1,969.68 into my. Yeah, he did just set that fire and walk away from it. Cool. Into my emergency fund. And I did that because so I was in the process last month of transferring money over to a high yield savings account. I'm using Ally Bank or Ally. I don't really know. I call it Ally. But when you're in there, it's one of the accounts that has like those savings buckets. And so I put the money over and then I started allocating all of the money in my different funds. And I had all of the proper allocations. All of those amounts were right. And then I realized I had like extra money somewhere. So at some point, somehow, somewhere back in my budget, I somehow move money over. I must have done it several times really and didn't properly allocate it in my budget. So some of that money, that extra money is that right there. Like I budgeted $795 and I put that in plus whatever overages I had at the end of the month. And then I found extra money. So, not going to complain about that. Some of my extra income, too, is also because I'm in a high yield savings account, is the dividends on that, by the way. Okay. So, didn't spend anything out of my emergency fund. So, my ending balance on that is $15,485.81. So, that's exciting. Medical fund, didn't spend anything out of it. I did have a couple of appointments and some tests, so I'm sure I'm going to get a bill soon. I'll work on that. My subscriptions, I spent $18.95 on subscriptions, and that's because I did some backpacking, and so I reactivated my Garmin subscription, which is $14.95 a month. That was a big chunk of it, and then it's the rest of that I think is like iCloud stuff. on now. He's filling the bird feeders. Okay. So 155 went in, only 1895 went out. I do that because I pay a lot of things out for the whole year, so it's just easier to have the amount in. That isn't the appropriate amount. I'm just a little paranoid about things that I may have forgotten about. So in December, I'll actually adjust that moving forward and then do something with any kind of overage that I have. So, Nanny Line Club, $17 goes in. I don't pay that out until January. My giving fund, I put $50 back into my giving fund and spent $35 of it. I don't remember what I spent that on, actually. This is why you keep track of these things. This is why I have to do this weekly, because I will get to the point where I don't know what I did. This might have been actually not supposed to be spent out of there. Oh, that's what it was. Okay. It was Keystone Trails Association membership renewal. So, yep. Okay. $59 in my car insurance. It's August 1st. I'm actually going to pay that here in a minute. So nothing has come out of that yet, but like 300 something will come out in a few minutes. Nothing to the car repair fund or nothing from the car repair fund. I put $10.60 back into the gift fund. I bought a book for a friend's birthday. I bought her The Ultimate Retirement Guide by Susie Orman. She's dancing around the idea of retiring. So, garden, nothing came out of the garden. Nothing went into the garden. I don't usually start putting into that until probably winter, because it's not a lot of money, and I don't spend it throughout the year. I just pretty much get stuff at certain times of year, mostly spring. Travel, I ended up putting $649.66 into the travel fund so that I could max that back out at $2,000. And nothing for clothing, nothing in my cushion, which essentially is what I'll do is, like, let's say, for instance, my subscriptions in January or December, once I figure out exactly how much I need in there, if there's a little bit of overage, I might roll it into that cushion account so that something random that pops up I can pull from that account. But I will actually probably get rid of that next year. The same thing with that tires category. I don't want to delete it because it will delete it for every month. So next year I might just delete it with the understanding that it goes in the emergency fund, or I'll turn that into like a short-term savings fund or something like that. But anyway, yeah, those are the money moves for July. Pretty okay month considering my niece was visiting. So we were doing a lot of travel. We were doing, getting a lot of different stuff. So not the end of the world. I will live with it. I did buy some stuff too at the end of the month for kayaking, because I finally got to take my kayak out. And I realized as I was paddling, there were some things I needed, like dry bags, like actual dry bags. I have ones for backpacking, but they're not like submergible, right? They're more like if you got rained on for a while, they'd still kind of hold up. And what I needed was something that, like, if my kayak like actually tipped over and it was like in the water, that it would keep like my phone dry and things like that. So I bought some of those things. There's one more thing I want to buy for sure for kayaking, and that is a water bottle that's really good at keeping things cold. Because guess what? Things get hot in a boat. So, yeah. There's all my alarms. That, by the way, if you were able to hear it, was a Sexy Getting Ready song from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. So that's my time to get ready for work alarm, because it cracks me up and I think of that song all the time when I get dressed. If you've never seen Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, do yourself a favor and go watch it. It's fantastic. All right. That's the budget for July. How'd y'all do for July? Leave a comment. Let me know. Talk to you later. Bye.